Hello. Today we're going to be looking at factoring trinomials where the number in front of x squared is not 1. And so in this problem, we have a 3 in front of the x squared. And anytime we want to factor, we look for the GCF first, which is just 1, so that doesn't change anything. So we basically are undoing the FOIL process for this. And our firsts in the FOIL process will multiply to make 3x squared. Things that multiply to make 3 are 1 and 3. Things that multiply to make x squared are x and x. So those must be, being the only options, what goes into the firsts for our parentheses to undo FOIL. Our lasts, to get the constant 6, must multiply to make a 6. So we have options like 1 and 6 or 2 and 3. Now I can't simply throw those in there, because if I were to redo FOIL, remember that even though the back ends were, be they 1 and 6 or 2 and 3, the outers and inners have to multiply together. And one of these, the inners namely, gets multiplied by a 3 before we combine like terms. So I need to figure out which of these four numbers over here, the 1, the 6, the 2, or the 3, we can multiply by 3 before combining like terms. So let's figure that out. Now, I'll remind you that we want our inners to add to a negative 11, so the 1 and the 6, or the 2 and the 3, is probably, not probably, but they will definitely be a negative number. So let's deal with this here. If I were to take the 1x times negative 1 and add 3 times negative 6, well, that gets me a result of negative 1 minus 18 for negative 19. Not going to do it. How about if I take the 1 from the 1x times the negative 6, and then I add 3 times the negative 1. Well, 1 times negative 6 is negative 6. 3 times negative 1 means minus 3. So we come up with negative 9. Not going to do it. So this one isn't going to work, because I've tried to take each of them times the 3 and then combine like terms. It's not going to help. So let's try the next one. If I do 1 times negative 2 plus 3 times negative 3, well, 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. 3 times negative 3 means minus 9. Oh, lo and behold, we got negative 11. So where do I put these numbers, the 2, the negative 2, and the negative 3, in order to make this work? Well, it was the negative 3 that I multiplied by positive 3. So those have to be our inners. So a minus 3 goes right there. And it was negative 2 that got multiplied by positive 1. So that would be 1 and negative 2 there. And we can check to see if we're correct by doing the FOIL process. If I take x times x, x times 3x, so that we get 3x squared. Then I'll take x times negative 2, negative 3 times 3x, and negative 3 times negative 2. And we combine like terms. So we get 3x squared minus 11x plus 6. And that matches what we had up top. So this right here is the factored form of the original trinomial. Let's try number 2. Here we have a similar problem. My firsts, right here, are going to multiply to make 2x squared. So that'll be a 1x and a 2x. My lasts will multiply to make negative 15. So one of these is going to be negative, one of them is going to be positive, but we have 1 and 15 or 3 and 5. And so when I make my two sets of parentheses, I know I can throw in an x and a 2x because that was my only option. But I need to choose between 1 and 15 or 3 and 5, knowing that one of them has to be negative. So if I were to put a 1 here, let me try this where I take a 1 times the 1, and I'll take 2 times 15. So 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 15 is 30. Whether I do 1 minus 30 or 30 minus 1, that's not going to get me a negative 1 in the middle over there. So let's switch that up. If I were to do 1 times 15 and 2 times 1. now I get 15 and 2. So we're a little closer, but it's still not going to be 1. 15 minus 2 is 13. 2 minus 15 is negative 13. So it's not going to be this one. All right, let's try taking the 1 times the 3. And then we'll take the 2 times the 5. 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 5 is 10. If I do 3 minus 10, that's negative 7. If I do 10 minus 3, that's positive 7. Not going to work. So I have one more option here. 1 times 5 and 2 times 3. And so 1 times 5 is 5. 2 times 3 is 6. And that works if I do 5 minus 6. That gets me a negative 1. That means that this 3 back here needed to be negative, while the 5 needed to be positive. So we want a negative 3 and a positive 5. And it's the negative 3 we want multiplied by the 2. So a minus 3 should go there, which means a positive 5 will go at this end. And once again, we can check this by foiling. X times 2x, x times 5, negative 3 times positive 2, and negative 3 times positive 5. And we combine like terms. So 2x squared minus 1x minus 15. And it matches, so we did this correctly. And we are done.